25, we're at 25555 Lexington Road, Athens, Georgia. First item on the agenda is to adopt. Chair entertains a motion to adopt.
Absolutely. One second.
Okay, I had a motion from Ms. Fambro, second from Ms. Chill. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And it is adopted. Next item on the agenda are the approval of minutes from not October, we got there yet, August 5th.
We got behind that.
Is that?
In the last meeting.
All right, so the floor is open. If anyone would like to make a motion regarding the minutes from August 5th.
We approved the minutes from August 5th.
Okay,
I'll second.
all right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. That was easy. Next item on the agenda is public comment. See one member of the public. Would you like to make comment?
I don't have much to say other than I'm happy to be here. I've been about the processes here in Athens. I am also an attendee at the Clarke County Board of Election meetings. So I will say that these are a lot better.
We
Say it out
try.
loud.
We try. And then if you could just sign that when you have a moment, just write your name and address for the record. All right. Next item is the director's report.
Thank you, Chair. Welcome. How's everybody today?
Not too bad.
We will start with the activity report. As you can see, for this month, we have over 80,278 voters, of which 72,595 voters are active and 7,683 are inactive. And we added 399 new voters for the month of August. For cancellations, we had a total of 75, of which 20 moved out of the state. 16 of those were submitted to Jarvis. We had 3 that requested other. We had 52 deceased, and then I guess because of the conference or whatever, we did not have any felony. And then we will let Ms. Taylor tell us about the open record request. Before that, we had 5 voter IDs this month, and the total for the year we've had 74. So now Ms. Taylor can share with us about the open record request.
For this past month of August, I responded to 3 open records requests. And I'll go ahead and, as far as absentee ballot applications for the upcoming November election, so far I have 18 applications.
Okay, and then we'll talk about going into the November general special election. As we know, that is going to be on November the 4th. LNA will start on September the 22nd at 10 a.m. It is open to the public. Advanced voting will start at October 18th at 8 a.m. at the election office. And then also in your package, I did submit it 14.
You said it.
I'm sorry, yeah, and I do have it printed right up. October the 14th at 8 a.m.
That's enough.
Gotcha.
Okay, and then I did submit a proposal for the November 4th, for the dates and the times. So, and you have it in your packet for review. So I know we'll go over that in our new business. And then also, we could talk about the poll workers lunch. We had started having this discussion in our last meeting, August the 5th meeting, I believe it was. And, Ms. Willa had requested that we do some follow-up. So we did the cost, from 2023 up to 2025. As you can see on your papers, we got each year of what the total cost was. And then I did speak to OR regarding doing a poll worker pay per diem, and they said poll workers' lunches are classified as an authorized miscellaneous expense. And the only way that they could be compensated is would have to be through the travel card. The travel card for us to do poll workers' lunches. Okay? And then also for the next topic, election day meetings, again, I was seeing if we, get a response in regards to what we need to continue to have the election day meetings on election day, because we do give follow-ups during the day, so I don't know if it would still be necessary for us to still post those meetings on election day. Then for the SEB cases, I'm going to refer it over to Attorney Davis. We've received a couple letter cases that are under investigation with us from Athens-Clarke County, so we've been presented with all of them. We've taken the necessary precautions on these cases, and I'm gonna stop right here and let Attorney Davis fill us in on this.
So I have, 8 copies of, so one of each, does that make sense? So there's three different investigation reports I'm gonna share with you guys. And while y'all are getting them, just to sort of preface the conversation about the matters before the state elections board. I was just gonna kind of generally go over them. The investigation reports are open records to anybody. That's not anything we need to, in fact, we can share it with our guests if you'd like. And so I was just gonna kind of talk about them in general terms. Just sort of the nature of the investigations, and then our, what we've kind of done in response and what we plan to talk about at the state election board. But if you want to talk about these sort of in more depth, then you can amend your agenda. We can go into executive session. It is a pending or potential, not a potential one, it's going to happen. Administrative proceeding, which our discussion over administrative proceedings are the same, have the same sort of protection that our discussions over pending litigation, settlement agreements, things like that would be. So you can convene in executive session if you would like to, if the conversation is going in a direction in which you want to do that, we can certainly do that. But let me do this, let me kind of go over them generally, and then you guys can make a determination about whether or not to amend the agenda to do that. So it looks like the Secretary of State's office has been busy and getting cases to the state election board. As you know, the state election board's been criticized for not hearing enough cases and instead focusing on other things. So we've been notified by the Secretary of State's office that they have several items. So you see this little chart that Pam's included in that was a chart that I think it's Investigator Doherty provided to us, although we've had contact with many different investigators related to these things. So these are the matters that he had on his calendar as trying to get before the state election board for the September 24th and 25th meetings, okay? We have received, I can kind of give you an update on all of them. Just as you're going down the list, if you'll, on this chart. These cases go back a bit. So 2022-308, that first case, that is an issue where we are not the respondent. It's something that we reported. It's a ballot issue. It involves Mr. Howard. So that doesn't involve us. It involves us with respect that it happened here and we've reported it, but he'll be the respondent in that matter. So we have no idea what happened there. 2023-79. This is one that they have issued an investigation report. I have provided a letter to you about that. It should be the first. I tried to keep them in chronological order. Okay. So let's go ahead. I'll go ahead and talk to you a little bit about that one. And at this point, we've actually not received the letter in the office, but one of our poll workers has received. That's why it looks like that.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, not very professional, huh? Ms. Rawls, she was a part-time poll worker. And so she received the letter. So I anticipate that we will also receive a letter, but nonetheless, we'll be there representing Ms. Rawls as she's an employee at the time. So just kind of generally, you can look at the investigation, but in general, this was a matter in 2023 where a batch of the yellow oath envelopes that are included in the absentee ballots, went out without our return address being stamped on them. Ms. Audra was about 100 ballots, something like that, right? 90 ballots. We can look up the details. For the purposes of this discussion, it was a batch of them. And when they went out, they were sent to the voters, and because they didn't have our return address, they weren't returned to us. And the default with the USPS is they don't return them to the Secretary of State's office. So that's when we found out, right? Because the Secretary of State's office called and said, we've got a bunch of absentee ballots. You guys might remember it. We met and remember all that stuff. Anyway, all that to be said, that's the violation, of course. And I will say what we'll be discussing there, what we'll be presenting to the State Elections Board are all the new procedures that are in place that would prevent that from happening again. And those have been in place since we discovered that, and it's never happened again. So that's kind of that one. We can go over these. I'll just go over them in order if you guys want to, or if you want to go ahead and ask questions, that's fine too. All right, next matter. 2023-87, that's also Mr. Howard is the respondent in that matter as well. He'll be there answering as many as we will. 2024-56, this is the missing voter access card at Gaines School. This is a
little green cards.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, a
I'm
little-
just shocked that I'm just now learning about these things.
Well, this is, I mean, these are all just kind of little errors that happen in the course of conducting business. So at the end of a night at the November election at Gaines School, they were one voter card shy of their staff, right? Somebody, well, who knows what happened, but at some point, the card went missing. There's nothing anybody can do with that card.
Right.
It's not, you know what I mean? It's done. There's nothing. Nonetheless, it's a violation. Although the poll worker, wrote a note sort of reporting it, it didn't come to our office's attention for some time, so there was a little delay in our reporting it, so you'll see that that's noted in the violation report. But again, that was a very isolated incident, and now again, we have new procedures where now those voter access cards are counted every hour, and there's additional poll worker there collecting the cards. So we haven't had that issue that happen again. You know, as it turns out, humans run elections, so occasionally things happen, you know, but again, no extra votes were cast or anything like that. All right, so then the next one, okay, well, so 2024-65, that was a missing voter access card as well. That was at the Girl Scout headquarters. We actually have not received any communication from the Secretary of State's office about that one. Well, I guess we did, but there was no investigation report attached to it, I think is the deal. That one was discovered much quicker because of these kind of new procedures that we had in place. It was resolved much quicker. I think maybe the prior one came more to their attention because there was such a delay in us reporting it.
So that one's been resolved.
I think, let me preface this by saying this. The state election board, what they're doing is the Secretary of State's office is giving us all these letters saying, hey, here's our investigations. But what they haven't published is the full agenda for the state election board, which would indicate what the recommended action coming as a result of these are. Okay, so when you have these sorts of things, the Secretary of State's office will present the violation to the state election board and then recommend to the state election board either that the matter be dismissed, whatever, it was a small error, no big deal, nothing happened, or there was no error at all. That the state election board issue a letter of reprimand or a letter of direction, to the board. And that's just sort of a, do better, yeah, there you go, Ms. Telford. Or in the most egregious of cases, or at least the cases that they believe are the most egregious, a case can be referred to the Attorney General's office or the local district attorney. Those are rare. Those are obviously in cases of fraud and, typically things like that.
Ballot destruction.
That might be, yeah, we'll see. I have no idea, the recommendations from the Secretary of State's office should be out any day now, once they publish that full agenda, so we'll have a better idea. And the state election board can do whatever they want, but that we'll at least know what the Secretary of State's office is recommending. So I don't know where that one is. We kind of think that one's been resolved with respect to the Secretary of State.
But like you said, with the other one, y'all have changed procedures, so.
And you'll find that that is the case in all three of these. You know, as you're going through the process, you discover a small hole in the system, so you know, and you move forward. That's life.
And you've done what
Anything
you can to
works.
correct it.
Exactly. And these problems have not come back. None of these problems, right, ladies, have come back up. So that's right. So that was number 65. Two more, 2024-161. You have a letter about that one as well. That is when, that was an issue where there was an incorrect precinct assignment for one voter. And it was during one of those periods where we were having to change streets and things like that. And I will say, that error occurred because the street segment had not been retired in Jarvis despite our repeatedly begging the Secretary of State's office to correct these errors because, because a mistake like that was an inevitability with the information that was
Send
found.
them a letter.
Have them report to us for a hearing.
I mean, I assume we sent like emails or something, right?
Ms. Audrey, they communicated regularly with the Secretary of State's office. So,
I would be shocked.
so you know, whatever, it was gonna happen. Now the Secretary of State's office has retired those streets at least in Jarvis and error has not occurred again. And then 2024-239, we've not received, we have received a letter about that one. It's been on this chart that Investigator Doherty shared with us, but we've not received any communication about that. So I don't know if that one's not going to be prepared in time for the September meeting, or I don't even know what the nature of that investigation is. So that's kind of where we are. The three that I told you, the three that I gave you the investigation reports for, will be going to the State Election Board on the 24th. Hopefully not running into the 25th, but possibly to answer to those three matters, to those three investigation reports. Unless, and I guess there's still a chance we would still get written investigation reports between now and then, and we'll answer those. But the election board staff has been very forthcoming with the investigators throughout all this. They provided them everything they've ever asked for. They provided me everything. I feel really comfortable going. I feel comfortable with the changes we made and that none of the errors, you know, represented any kind of systemic issue. But, and so I'll leave it up to you, Chair Raffle, if you guys want to discuss, if you want to discuss these things in any more depth, I would recommend going into executive session, but if you're satisfied with that.
I'm satisfied.
I'm good.
Yeah, the only question is, do we know about some of these already and I missed it? Or have some of them
Oh,
just
we
come
knew
in the
about all,
past few days?
well, we knew about all of them as issues because we self-reported all of them, actually. I mean, that's the duty that you have, is when you discover, and really, the system relies on you to do so.
Now that I remember these issues
Yeah.
happening, but I didn't realize there was back in.
Oh, no, once you, yeah, you really
It
don't
just
know.
automatically assigns a number.
Yes, and you don't know, a lot of things we self-report never turn into anything, some turn in, you know, investigations, we probably, I mean, we only got these letters last week.
Okay. I'm fine.
They're very old. I mean, and that has been a problem, luckily, I mean, you know, we provided everything since we did the self-reports, but going back and trying to recreate the events or find conversations from 3 years ago. Very difficult. But staff's done a great job putting them together and getting us ready. So I'll be there, and then actually John Hawkins is probably gonna join me. He's the deputy chief in our office and he used to represent the board of elections. He's been to this before. And then I'll take along some of these gals and, I think maybe, the poll worker, she might want to join us, and I think the other poll worker, yeah, Mr. Bush is not unable to join us, but we'll represent them.
And this is the state?
The state election board. So this is what's the date? Oh, September 24th and 25th.
Lisa, you can also watch the hearing live, so we could share the link with you if you want to watch it.
Oh, yeah.
Do you need any of us to come or?
You're welcome to, if you'd like to. I'm sure you'll see Charlotte.
The email I got said the 23rd and 24th. Is that-
Yeah, it's the 24th and 25th, so. I know. Did you get that from who?
Ma'am?
Who did you get that from? The Secretary of State?
The notifications from the state election board. Wow. So, wrong dates, I guess, was it?
Isn't that right, ladies? Because I remember, we saw 23rd and 24th at one point, but then later.
Tuesday and Wednesday, the 23rd and 24th, what they're saying.
I think it's Wednesday, Thursday. Let's double check. I know ours are on the 24th, and we've been told they could run into this.
And their website has nothing, like the link they give us has nothing.
Public comment will go on for 6 hours before anything happens.
There's no agendas posted, there's no minutes posted.
There's the public notice for it.
We have stuff posted like that for, whatever, I'm sorry, excuse me.
No, they didn't, the notice of the meeting is published.
Their website, like it has email alerts you can sign up for, and then featured services about, and there's events, so.
Wait,
No.
it's
Yeah,
there, but it's not much. Now, if you go on down to the September 24th, it says 23, 24. But open it up.
This is Tuesday, the 23rd, 24th.
That's just 24.
You've been told, well, anyway, we're gonna be there on the 24th, but we were told the 24th.
And right here it's saying the 23rd and 24th.
We'll be there the 24th.
Yeah.
I apologize for my remarks, their agendas are posted on the website.
You retract your criticism.
I retract my criticism this time.
Well,
This one.
I think you can leave it on the table later.
Okay, well, yeah, so I guess the short answer is I don't know, but I do know that we've been, told to appear at 9 a.m. on the 24th.
Okay. All right, director's report.
Okay, and one last thing, thank you, Attorney.
Oh, yeah, of course, and Pam could have done all that, it's just, we kind of ended.
You did a wonderful job.
Okay, then, yes, we were gonna give you an update on 7B, was Chestnut Grove. Lisa is going to do that.
Something's going on with our live stream, which is okay, we're recording, so we can post it later if we can't get this working.
We need to recess for 5 minutes to resolve.
No, it'll take me just a second.
The 7B.
It's
You're
7
welcome to do that if you'd like.
Seven A.
This is it. Oh, okay.
That's what you try.
There we go, so it's been 7, okay, so it's 7. It's been 7B fine.
Yes, 7B is fine.
Okay. Something was wrong there, she's in trouble.
No. Oh, here comes it.
So for background, please, am I correct that where we got, how we got here, 7A had been. Sure. So am I correct that 7A, once upon a time, was at Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Athens? Per their request, we moved away from there and we moved to Timothy Road Baptist. Per their request, we will stop using them for. Or no, we stopped. Everybody stopped. Gotcha. And that's where we are. That's why we're, it's been no action of our own. It's been the partners that we had. The deal no longer worked. Here we go. In case someone's tuning in for the first time and wants to hear this from scratch, there we go.
So, the June and July elections were held with combined 7A and 7B. So the 7A voters voted at the library twice, and they're gonna do so again in November. For next year, we had approached Chestnut Grove Baptist Church to become our polling location. They're out of precincts, but barely. But as you know, it's been really difficult to find somewhere within the precinct lines.
So that's why we approached them, heard from them today, that at their conference on Saturday, they decided against being a polling location. So we are back on the search. Pam and I had a discussion this afternoon and identified Beach Haven Baptist Church, which is also on it's on Broad Street, just right outside the precinct boundaries. I contacted them this afternoon, got instructions about who to talk to, sent a proposal to them and asked, we're supposed to deal with their, facilities committee. And I asked to meet with them, for us to meet with them at their next facilities committee meeting. And sent them a written proposal about what it means to be a polling location. I did let them know it's kind of a time-sensitive situation, but we hope that we can talk to them and get a response and just kind of come to a conclusion fairly quickly in case we need to look elsewhere as well.
Location just came to mind, it's a little further down, but the Early Learning Center is not quite as far as the library. CCSD, admin, building,
Right up in there, up above here, Apple Baptist Church.
too far down, maybe, but,
Oh, I know what it is, okay.
yeah, a little bit further down the
Yeah,
road,
that's,
but.
if we can do it, I really want to find somewhere right on the edges of the boundary.
But we've also expressed our desire to use public buildings first.
There aren't any.
Right.
If there were, we would definitely go there because those are guaranteed that we can use them. But that is the update. So I sent that letter about an hour before the meeting. And hopefully we'll hear something at least back from the business manager at the church very soon to let me know when the committee meeting will be. And we'll just keep looking, as we approach the deadline though, we really need to have somewhere to go by the first of the year so that we can meet, especially if it's out of precinct, so we can meet all the reporting deadlines and everything we have to do to have an out of precinct location.
You're talking about January, February, is that in the
I would feel comfortable as early in January as possible.
Yeah.
So we've identified a place to go and we can start getting everything together that has to be done. There's lots of reports that have to be done for the Secretary of State's office. There's hearings that have to be held, notices posted in the newspaper, that kind of thing. So,
The Beach Haven says, no, we have looked at what your proposal is and it's not gonna work for our schedule. Then we would have no recourse but to put it wherever we can put it. I mean, even if it's out of precinct.
well, I mean, there's the avenue of just leaving it with the library, but I'm concerned about that. I think it's way too many people to be assigned to one polling location in a large election year like next year will be.
So we might have to go to early learning.
Is there anything close to the library?
It is early learning.
Yeah, and I just looked at the map, I was mistaken, I thought it was closer this way, but it's further
Yeah, over close
that
to
way,
Broad.
but.
Yeah,
That's-
proximity,
That's,
it's just behind Broad.
I don't know. I mean, anything is an option at this point, and I'm sure we're both open to hearing whatever options.
So there's a church that is on, Athens by, Betty Holston.
Holston.
Where's that, I don't know what the name of that church is, but it's off,
I
you
live
know what I'm
that,
talking about?
just down by
Well,
my.
there's also Betty Holston School. I just don't know how far it is from the boundaries.
Park Middle, if we're one to not pay the library.
I also don't want to confuse voters
True.
when you've got, I mean, even going to the school that was formerly Alps, Betty Holston, it's very close to the library and can be confusing for voters.
What about that little elementary right across from Chick-fil-A?
Yeah,
That's
that's
the
Betty
one.
Holston.
Yeah, I have two questions, but if we want to, I don't know if we want to move on or make this an agenda item later or just keep talking.
Well, it seems like we have a little bit of time. So we could probably just keep having a casual conversation, I'm okay with that.
Like a future meeting versus.
I'm saying we can keep having this conversation,
Okay,
just to kind of see what direction we're going in, but I don't think we need to modify the agenda.
gotcha.
We're not gonna decide anything.
One thought. Have any of y'all had any experience with like renting modular building, like renting portables, like renting structures, having them delivered and set up and powered for a certain period of time and then?
That option was brought up when Timothy was unavailable, and brought up possibly putting a modular removable,
Right.
building in their parking lot.
Right.
So it's possible, but I have no idea what the cost is for that.
And my second thought on this is, you mentioned the very real issue of confusion, if we were too close to the library. Is it possible to have two, let's say hypothetically, if we went with Clark Middle, which is right next to the library, can they both serve all the voters from both precincts? Can we make them both 7A, 7B so that people can go into either door and they're fine to solve that confusion? And they both?
Logistically, yes, and programming equipment, yes, but I don't know according to law what that would.
Because for the voters, that would at least solve that concern about.
Yeah.
I mean, other counties have super centers, right? Or have they fixed their precincts to match their?
I don't know. I know there's some counties like
Yeah,
that.
it's not really a super center as much as the two polling locations for.
At once, yeah.
Right,
Which is what it is now, which is what we temporarily are doing.
but to solve the space concern
Yeah.
and the confusion concern that would arise. But I mean, I see that might.
And these are very small elections, so
But next year,
next year it's gonna be just like,
It's
I
gonna
think
be.
it's a great idea.
I'll look at it, Mr. Shirley. I
Thinking it-
feel like, I think a voter is assigned to a single polling, I think that's my recollection. And so, in that way, I don't know how you do that. Do you know what I mean?
how it to be assigned to.
Well, could it still be 7A, or 7B, but if 7A showed up,
No,
no?
I mean, legally we have to designate it the right way.
Yeah.
Because people will need to get new precinct cards, and this is not supposed to be a temporary solution, it's supposed to be the permanent solution for 7A, so.
The Russia case before that, I was living in Overclock Elementary School in the fire station up the street from Overclock Elementary. At
But
one
you couldn't,
time,
but you couldn't see them from the.
yeah.
I mean, that's
how about the gym at,
Park Center?
no, sir, at, Homer T. Edwards.
Okay,
I'm sorry, I don't know what that is.
that's the Early Learning Center.
Next door, next door.
Right.
That one building is on the right and the big building, Homer T. Edwards is on, if you're pulling in, it's on the right.
Right.
They got separate, they kind of have separate parking, but then again, as I think about it, you may have a parking problem unless you can use the parking that's behind that building, which belongs to, that's another, school behind that building.
Is that Career Academy?
No, Career Academy is in Homer T. Edwards. But what's the name of that? Foothill? Foothill is behind there.
I like that idea. If that were to work, keeps us in a public building, and then we're gonna play the little redistribution game again.
Well, no, it can be an out of precinct polling location.
But I-
Another thing, if we want to decide on one of the public schools, I would go with Betty Holston opposed to, Clark Middle. That'll give it some.
We're not talking about Clark Middle, we're talking about the gym.
Yeah, I'm talking about, I know you were talking about the gym on there, but I'm talking, Adam was talking about.
About, I got you. No,
Could I ask this then? Could we ask Joseph to give us like a scenario of a couple places,
We
like a
have, we
recommendation?
would have to, we did when this first happened, and he gave us a long, not a long, but an exhaustive list of places that could possibly be available, and I'm fine.
Okay, so, but now we're adding Beach Haven Church.
You mean for locations that are right outside the boundary?
Sorry, I'm not making sense. So let's assume Beach Haven says, okay, yeah, we'd love to. Can Joseph give us like a scenario where we would, will we need to remove lines again to make it in precinct?
No, we're not gonna do that. Yeah,
But
we gotta go to the state to do that.
The proper procedures of, like she said, doing the notification and, getting everything posted to the Secretary of State's office, that it would be out of the precinct line, but it would be that particular polling location's
Yeah,
spot.
It can't, I mean, 4A was out of precinct for a long time, and it was way out of precinct. And this would just be right across the highway. Like the 7A boundary is just on the other side of Broad, across from the church.
Sure.
So anyway, that's kind of
Well,
really
I
all
mean,
with that.
what, I guess what I'm saying is, can we move the one line so it's in precinct?
But
Does that make much of a difference?
no, I mean, I don't think it would help the situation much. It would cause other voters to be displaced and have to go to a different precinct as
Exactly.
well.
But yeah, I'd rather see a CCSD building if we could. It's our first option because it's a publicly known building.
We were looking back at the calendar, they have election day as a digital learning day, I've noticed. At least the big ones in the fall, that they've done that to accommodate, it seems like to accommodate so many schools being public places, so that would be already ready-made.
I think we should just go ahead and, I'll look at the boundaries and we should just go ahead and reach out to Betty Holston and see if they're. Cause I mean,
Is Timothy
sorry,
Road Elementary able to be expanded? I mean,
no,
I know we talked
they
about,
have a large amount of voters there as well.
So he was thinking about trying to split the numbers.
Jay Holston was renamed from what?
Ours elementary.
That's on the same street as,
It is,
y'all,
but
it's gonna be too much congestion, they're gonna talk about y'all, they're gonna search y'all out. The whole nine.
that'd be another day,
It's,
another day.
don't inconvenience people like that, they got St. Mary's Hospital over there, they got Kroger Shopping over there, they got Beechwood Shopping
So
Center.
they can go to the movies and get the groceries all at one
can't go to
time.
the movies anymore. Okay, so, well, we just got to look at some other alternatives. Hopefully we'll have solutions soon.
We will add it to next month's agenda.
One last quick question.
No matter
You remember
what.
that small, quick question I asked you? Did you have it jot down that code section? Last month that I asked you about that. It's very brief, but compelling, but very intriguing. It's okay if it's not. I wrote it on something.
I mean, I probably wrote it down on whatever scrap piece of paper I was using, that's fine.
It's okay. It's,
No, tell me.
it was the one, there's this, a very, very brief code section that says the superintendent of elections is allowed to cause the county to, or whatever, the municipality to create space
That's right.
for elections. Like, it's very simple. Like, I think I showed a couple of y'all.
Yeah.
Like, it's very brief and it says, like, it's as a nuclear option, like, we can compel the county to make available a place in precinct for a voting place. I don't say that lightly, but it's a thing that we have at our disposal apparently by state law.
So what does
So-
the county own in precinct?
So what I'm thinking of is then like looking at a public parking lot and we could cause the county to pay for whatever. I don't think,
Modular building?
right?
I think Andrew said that's literally like two parcels and one of them is where they moved the monument from downtown and the other one is like swampy,
Gotcha.
wet,
Okay,
unusable land,
okay.
if I'm remembering correctly.
I don't like that as an option, but I also want a public available plot that we can put our building in and say, this is where to go vote, you know? Anyway, that's what I was asking about, but I'll dig it up again.
Me too, I'm looking.
Because we're just trying to do our job and we can't worry about what the big government doesn't want, you know?
Right, and we spent, all of us, y'all more than us, but we all spent a lot of work a couple of years ago making these lines just right, right? We got all these places just right, and got cussed out along the way. But now we've also, this circumstances have caused those to be.
Almost things thrown at me. You know the story.
Pam has it.
It's 21,269.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You want
Yes, perfect, there we go. Yes. Just in case y'all are curious, I can read it, it's so brief. It says, if in any precinct, no proper polling place can be obtained, the superintendent shall cause to be constructed for such precinct a temporary room of adequate size to be used as a polling place.
Where's that in there?
It's page 243 in our workbook. It's code section 21-2-269.
All right, well, let's draft a
We can-
resolution and bring it to.
We can throw up a circus tent then, huh?
And then, like, but actually, now that I read it again, it's actually not even giving us the flexibility, like, we shall, like, it's
Oh, yeah,
requiring
stay
us
on
to
the map.
make them do
Yeah,
it, so
stay
anyway,
on
that's,
the map.
Well, hopefully we won't have to get to that point.
hopefully not, hopefully not. Anyway,
But I do personally feel that, it's gonna be harder and harder to be able to use a church. Because from me doing something outreach a couple of years ago, we mailed out those letters. And I heard that from one church about coming to do voter education on absentee voting. I just don't think they wanna be connected to the politics.
I know the scheduling is also a big burden for them because of maybe there'll be a runoff. Maybe we'll need your building, so you can't schedule for programming and
Yeah, yeah.
the thing you do. But I didn't think about that,
Yeah.
the politics of it.
All right, sounds like we have no plan, but we'll come back next month with a plan.
We have a plan. We're gonna talk to Beach Haven and look at.
We're working the plan.
I will just say again, my preference is a public building,
Okay.
so,
But that's all we have.
all right. Looking back at the entire report, anyone have any questions for staff?
Yeah, the, lunch per diem follow-up,
That's an agenda item, I believe, so.
is it?
New business number 1,
Okay,
so we'll get
okay,
there.
I'm
We'll get
looking,
there,
that's it.
yeah.
Okay.
All right. We basically just discussed old business, which was discussion of 2026 permanent change. The 7B polling place. Do we have any further comments on that? Okay. Next items under new business. The first one is proposal regarding providing poll worker lunch on election day. Could you explain to us this little chart you provided and then we'll go from there?
Yeah, the total costs that we, have paid each year for the elections in 2023, it was $8,205. In 2024, it was $6,008. And then so far this year, we've done $7,903. Was the cost of, for us doing poll worker lunches. So I had, requested that we give her the numbers for each week, so.
And
So, go ahead.
I was gonna say the forwarders don't have a card.
They don't have a P card. no.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So there's a line item allocated for their lunch,
No,
No,
so it just comes out of your miscellaneous budget? Or how's that done?
it's
What's up?
been coming out of the
election supplies.
That's legal, right? Y'all was first, y'all was first in the funds, okay?
They check with purchasing and everything.
I'm sure it is legal. That was me trying to be a little facetious, but, so where are we with that? Are we gonna feed them or are we not gonna feed them?
that's up to you all, I think.
Quick recap, would you mind, last month I remember y'all introduced this, what do y'all see as being the problem?
Basically, we have limited choices of, restaurants that will be able to be accommodating for the poll workers, which in turn they're now complaining about them because, they're the same, they're saying the food is soggy, when it gets to them or,
Okay.
they're tired of the same things that they have, like I said, if you get a restaurant that's not really accommodating, you gotta then have the manpower to be able to go out and provide the lunches for the poll location. And right now, that's the manpower. So, we would have to give us
Money on spending too much money.
and yes, and then, we've done the snacks and everything, and they, sometimes, they come back. They're, it's been wasted, so.
So then, is it, I'm sorry, somebody else. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, if we've already spent $7,900, then you're looking at the next election, how much more is that gonna be?
So we're about 3,000 in it, close to.
3 to 4.
1,000.
So we're going up to 10.
Right.
But, let me tell y'all, $17 an hour, $18 an hour, it's better than most jobs in Athens. But still, and I know it's a part-time gig, but that's a perk, y'all. Let's try to keep them with a perk or something. We don't wanna lose any poll workers cause we can't feed them. And then too, I don't think that Chick-fil-A, cause if I go in there and order a Chick-fil-A sandwich, don't put my hot chicken on their bread now, cause I'm gonna give it back to you. And that would be anybody's mentality, because for me, that's slop.
Yeah, that's what's happening. I guess they're making them hot and then they're.
They're just
putting
all
them in
over the bread.
So once they get them, they're sweated.
Usually come out to the marching band field at 6 AM on Saturday and see what a sloppy sandwich looks like. 460 of them for you.
No, but the thing about it is, that's a different situation. We're trying to keep some people working and doing what we need done. We don't want these folks to revolt.
Have they suggested? what
I
would
don't think
please
that they
them?
would revolt over not having lunch provided for them, because I don't,
So many of them are complaining.
yeah, I don't know that they really see it as a perk if they're happy to get.
Still,
Can we hold them?
oh,
Have they suggested anything that is, do they know that if we got pizzas every time, we'd be thrilled, or some sandwiches, or
No.
no? From what you're saying, what sounds like to me, I don't think anything's gonna please them. Nothing.
I mean, it's not that, I don't think this is the only way we've shown them appreciation
Right.
with lunch.
um,
My view is, I look at it, this is a job. We bring our lunch to work with us every day, or we go pick up our lunch. I know they can't go, but if you're gonna be working on election day. And when we do phone interviews, we say, bring everything with you that you would need that day, including medication, because you cannot leave. I just think it's so many who are complaining or throwing it in the trash, like a whole Chick-fil-A meal. We've had those reports. I just think it's a waste of our money. And it's one day. It's just too much money coming out of our budget.
What do you provide? Just the sandwiches, or people can order different stuff?
It's a boxed meal. We've also tried
So it's the
ordering.
same.
Yeah, it's a sandwich or a wrap. We tried ordering or offering several different options, but then it got really complicated and the orders were coming in wrong. So we went back to the 3 options, hoping that that would be enough of a variety that they would be able to get what they actually ordered.
So what are the options?
A grilled sandwich, a regular sandwich, and a wrap for the vegetarians. And it comes in the boxed meal with the cookie and the chips.
Right.
So it sounds like, not wanting to get into it, but currently they work, we're not doing the shift thing yet. It's, if I'm on full work, I'm working the whole, got it, okay. So like Ms. Otter said, the time is not available for them to leave and get a lunch and come back. So picking something up on the way or the night before or whatever is an avenue. Is it possible for us, with the way the county works, for us to give them a meal credit amount on their pay for the day? Like an extra,
that's how we.
No,
that's what-
that's, thank you.
got it. So then if go on the P card route, what does that look like?
We can't.
P card for each
they-
person.
No, it's not
Yeah,
available
that's-
to
Got it, okay.
seasonal workers.
Got it, all right. Okay, let's see. And this is just for election day we're talking about. We talking about it, okay,
But we have provided lunches during advance voting too.
Right.
Because, people would wonder where their lunches are.
right?
Or, or we would provide for one location when they worked on a Saturday, and it was like, well, all these other places are open on Saturday, so we need to provide them too, and
Right.
it can really get,
It's slippery
be a
slope.
big,
So then my last thought for this chunk is, what about the final poll worker? I can, whatever they currently do, those who don't partake in the lunch that we provide, I could do that. But then if it's the extra cost for me, I understand Ms. Fanbo talking about, we want to be sure, we don't want them to perceive, even the ones who don't complain, the ones who appreciate what we're doing for them and are not throwing in the trash, we want them to understand we're not trying to snub them. And so I want to try to defray that cost, but we can't give a P card, we can't give them a credit, an additional thing in their pay. I don't want to change the hourly pay for this. don't know,
We need some money to throw in better poll worker appreciation
Yes, we
party
can.
every year.
to do, and that'd be a pretty big
We
part.
do that on our shoestring budget and we do most of all the work ourselves.
Right.
We could do something better for them.
Then what about, I'm sorry, the last thought then is, at all the polling, how many of the polling places do we know for sure our poll workers have access to a microwave? Cause I'm thinking like, if they get a frozen meal and bring it versus a sack lunch, I'm getting way too in the weeds about this, but I'm just curious, is that not a guarantee with the places we
We
partner with?
know one that doesn't have access to any type of kitchen facility at all.
Gotcha.
Most of them have access to a refrigerator or some type
They
of.
could go through the lunch line into schools. I'm just,
You should probably get that.
I like Ms. Bambo's idea about polling the workers, because I know y'all understand, you feel it deeply when workers throw it in the trash or complain to y'all. But how many, I wonder, are quietly appreciative of it and, go about their business?
yeah, that was my question. On average, how many poll workers do we have? I have my.
Anywhere between 140 and 200, depending on the size of the.
Okay. So let's say we have 150. How many complaints did you get? 7, 50,
I mean,
25?
probably less than 25. But it would come from the manager saying, this is what my site feels. And then individual people.
But then take it to a positive note, like when I was a poll worker, lunches were not provided. So what we would do as that team is we got together and we did a potluck. So, that can build some teamwork, some, so, there is a positive.
They get 30 minutes though, right?
Yeah, but I'm that person where I don't like to take stuff away from people, especially when you have good workers. They do outstanding work. That's just me. It doesn't seem right and it doesn't seem fair that we would take that away from them, still back to, polling them and see how many people feel that way. But, whatever you guys do in the majority, I'm going along with.
So what would you want us to put, just to say, do you like the lunches or suggest like location? I mean, I guess I wanna know what questions you want us to pose to the poll workers if we do this survey.
We can write about too much trouble. I mean, we're used to doing that all the time for things that we talk to the workers about.
What's the survey?
What about the choice between a lunch and a bigger party?
Here, another thing that hasn't been mentioned, could we give them something more substantial when they return? Well, I guess they're not all returning. Could we, if you'd like a dinner, please stop by the warehouse?
We'll have a lot of dinners.
Way on the west side, like out of Cleveland Road, they're not gonna drive all the way over
You
here,
have a lot of dinners left.
come get food and then come home. I wouldn't think.
Well,
After a long day, I wanna go home. I go home.
They work 14, 15 hours, don't
I will say that I'm on the fence either way, because I understand what Ms. Will is saying and the staff is saying. Just relating it to personal experience in my day job, I do a lot of catering, a lot of feeding people. And these people are students at University of Georgia, and they are very appreciative of the meals. They never complain. So I have a hard time believing out of 200 people, there's that many complaining if we truly polled them. Out of 400 people, I maybe get 1 or 2 people complain each time.
And you have to think about the longevity of it too. Supposing I've been a poll worker for the last 5, 10 years. I'm tired of Chick-fil-A. It's just one day, and I'm not just tired of Chick-fil-A, but I'm tired of the sloppy ways that I'm being fed. That's it for me. I think that's sloppy. If I see you touch, if I go to a restaurant, I see you touch my food, if I go through a drive-through, it's over. I don't want it. And don't let it be messed up. I'm not fussing, cause whenever I can't eat the meal, thank you, I just can't eat that. Do you want something else? No, thank you. I'm good. But I can understand that. People, food is important to people, you know, it's going in your body. I just can't see a slurpy, sloppy bun on chicken. I just, gross. Maybe we can talk to Chick-fil-A about their habits of serving food like that. And I know they need to get through. But,
Much like we turn in the mileage form, this is more work for Ms. Wheeler over here. But could those that wish to be reimbursed, be reimbursed?
no, cause it's too many individuals to,
No, I understand that. I'm just saying, just thinking of a large group and the amount of people that would ask for that versus wouldn't.
And we,
okay, let's do that and, see how many, get off the jump ship.
She stayed with the survey and then we can return back, I guess, next month with the results to the third.
I'm also curious to know, from what you've dealt with from colleagues in other counties, are we the one county that does lunches at all? Have all the rest of them given up on it? How do they address it?
No, as far as some of the directors that I have, spoken to about it, they do, like you said, they provided us a perk, that they do appreciate their poll workers, but they're not having any of the complaints that we're having either, so I don't know. But I didn't ask what they're serving either though, but I just know that's why.
Yeah,
Say it again.
I just
Most
think,
of them do pizza, like pizza and salad only.
Okay,
They're
gotcha,
not having people pick up food from 3 or 4 different
gotcha,
places.
yeah.
if someone gives me a meal, whether I'm working or not, I'm not gonna
Well,
complain
brief
about it.
Yeah.
Even if it's a soggy,
Yeah.
nasty bun, whatever, thank you, and that's the end of it. I'll eat it or I won't.
And I've understood over the years that, like, I gather that there are dietary restrictions to be cognizant of, and y'all are in the business of elections, not food service. And so you want to take care of your people and keep them coming back, but you didn't sign up for this job to help address who can't handle gluten and who prefers not to have fish and things like that. So, there's two sides of it, right? There's two extremes. There's poll workers to keep happy and the staff to keep happy.
Here's another option, going the survey route. Could folks opt in? And then if you've opted in, then why are you complaining? Because you asked for this. So
We have
sloppy Chick-fil-A bun.
We have started asking for that, like, I would tell the manager when we send out the order form, please do not order food that unless someone actually wants to eat this. They do have the option of bringing their own food if they would like. And sometimes they do order less, but that was a few elections ago, and then now it seems like they're all ordering the food that they know.
How many of the people that complained are coming back the next year to be a poll
All of
worker?
them.
All of them are?
That's what I'm saying about.
But they come here and complain to the board and plead their case. Invite them to the next meeting.
Now, you
I'd like to
got,
hear directly from the people.
oh, yeah, that's
I'm
gonna,
kind of not
that's
joking.
gonna happen for you, right?
Yeah, to Rocky's point though, when you look at how many poll workers we have, based on the number of actual complaints, it is small. It is
I
relatively.
mean, in anything you do, our work or any other work, there's always gonna be people that are not happy, no matter what you do.
I think the survey is a good idea, and we can ask them if they'd rather that we like switch it up, or maybe if we can work out getting pizza one election, and Chick-fil-A another election, instead of always the same thing. That's how good it would find anybody who will coordinate delivery for 24 locations within an hour time frame, so they can all actually eat during lunch, instead of getting their food at like 3 o'clock.
Right.
That's fine. All right, next item is poll worker. Ms. Pembroke, that was your item.
Mhm.
You're recognized.
Yeah, I had a couple of questions. I looked and I saw the letter that you sent out, Lisa, are you an active poll worker? And the question is, will you be able to work during the next 12 months? We recommend that if your schedule does not allow you to work during the next 12 months, that you consider resigning and reapplying as a poll worker when you have more availability. you're gonna resign by sending a quick email to Lisa.
Mhm.
Have we done that before?
Yeah.
Does it work
That's-
out good?
It does, because it frees up. So we have, let's say we have a pool of 300 poll workers. And so when I look at that, I think, well, we don't really need to hire this time because I have 300 people that we can draw on. And then when I send out the survey and ask them to work and only 160 come back, you know, let's just round numbers. And a lot of them are saying year after year that they can't work, but they're still on the rolls, you know? So it's better
Oh, I see.
that if they go ahead and resign, if they can't work a few
That
years.
frees
in a
up
row,
space.
Frees up space to get active poll workers in that spot that I know I can call and depend on. And they can always reapply when they're ready to work again. I mean, it doesn't mean that we don't want them to come back. It just means that if you're not available, then I need that spot for someone who is.
You know, everybody got different jobs, I assume, that are poll workers. And some people are not fortunate enough to have a union, so some people don't know when they'll be off. And it kind of works out the same though. I just don't want us to come up short.
No, because actually it lets me know how many people we need to hire, and then we can work that side of it better than I was able to do in the past.
Any other questions on that particular topic? All right, next item is advanced voting locations, dates, times for November 2025 election. Looks like we have a proposal in our packet. My first question is, there are a number of elections in Winterville on this ballot, right? Or is it just the PSC?
No, there's the winter bill. But we won't be able to host events voting at those locations, so they only want us to do election.
Gotcha.
Are we
You in
having
the
diffi-
tennis center? I know that's not Winterville, but
are we having difficulty with scheduling with them? Because I know they got really popular when we have elections in Winterville.
They just let us know that they're not available to us for advanced voting. Takes up too much time on their schedule. They're happy to be in election day precinct, but they don't.
Okay, that's what that one only, I understand. Mhm.
So you're recommending to add the tennis center like for the voters in that Winterville area?
Yeah, on
As
this
another
last-
voting location?
yeah, like Monday through Friday on that list.
We didn't do that earlier this year, and there was also
Did we?
little races
Oh,
on there
okay,
as well.
okay, never mind then. That was-
Well. So because we can't do that at Winterville, they're gonna have to come downtown.
Or the
Is that what
library,
I'm hearing?
or the library.
Or the library.
Yeah,
Well, that's even further.
yeah.
So is there, I'm kinda like, I don't know what me and Rocky thinking alike, but is there polling places that's county owned or participating with the county, like the schools, that, would be closer to where these people live?
That would be the tennis center, the airport.
Tennis center.
Tennis center.
Would that be the tennis center? Okay.
Tennis centers.
And the airport is closer, actually.
We would have to bring up the subject with the airport about being an advanced voting location. We've never talked to them about that.
Okay, that's true. Yeah, we have used the tennis center as a dance hall.
Gotcha. Yeah, it would be, tennis center is closer to Riverville.
Well, there's many more.
Yeah. Cause a lot of people come through there on their way to work, since they're working on the highway out there on Lexington Road. There's a gazillion people come through, the Winterville Road and Spring Valley Road and come through Nellie B. or, you know, drop off at, or drop off at Olympic Drive and get on the, bypass, so it would cost.
Considering turnout for the June election was less than 5%. I believe, well, I know the July was, maybe the June was 7% turnout. I don't,
Could we scratch the library, do tennis center downtown? What do you think about that?
Sound good, to me? You know, cause I mean, that's our job to try to figure out how to make it more, whether it works out or not, we don't know. But that's our job to kind of make it more convenient for people to get to the polls and be at the polls. You know, it takes probably a lot of advertising so that they would know, you know, where to go because this is something different.
What about the number of people that would vote between those two places? Which one would have more people go and vote at the library or the?
Library, yeah.
they would go to the library. Historically, we've had the library is our most popular location.
And I think the tennis center is the second.
So am I right that the idea behind swapping is that because there is more local stuff on the ballot for Winterville, getting a place closer to
They're
whatever.
close to where they are.
And because this is gonna be a low word turnout, we're not saying and, we're thinking maybe or.
Yeah.
But then the point is then, of the two, library is gonna probably draw more voters.
If
than-
this was just PSC, I wouldn't have said
Right.
any of this.
Right.
Right.
I'm sorry, this was Jermaine, really briefly, Winterville canceled one of them, so the only one candidate qualified for one of their elections, but there's still gonna be the two quick questions, the referendum or whatever.
Questions in one council seat.
Okay, there's still three
Or
things.
two council seats for the same, you vote for two.
Gotcha, okay, so there's still,
Well, the floor's open if you'd like to.
When-
Well, I'm sorry.
No, I was just wondering, when is the ballot finalized for the November
We're in the final process.
year?
Yeah.
Will you let us know is that advertised then?
Are you looking for a sample ballot?
Yeah.
We'll have the sample ballots up as soon as we get our project, which is around the time we have LNA.
Okay.
And you can pull your sample ballot from your My Voter page.
Oh, okay.
Well, that would just be for you, so
Yeah.
if you didn't live in Winterville, then that wouldn't be in there. But
Oh, okay.
So
I
like the
was wondering
sample
what the
ballot,
whole thing was gonna look like.
yeah, the sample ballot we would produce as a composite ballot that has all the races on it.
Okay.
All right, well, the floor's open for a motion to either accept this as is or make a modification. But then we'll go from there.
I'll just make that motion for the tennis center.
Is that in addition,
And that would replace,
okay,
yeah,
for the same dates and times?
same dates and times. Just switch out the places.
Okay,
So, yeah, I think people are historically used to seeing the library open.
Hold on, let's-
I'm sorry.
there's a motion on the floor. You're gonna read it, then I'll ask for a second, then we'll discuss.
Okay,
so the motion, if I understand correctly, is what's printed here, and I've typed it up here, I was telling Rocky that I don't like the fact that the minutes, I've not done a good enough job of typing what's on these things, and so we see it now, but when we walk out the door, we don't know later on what was in here. So I've got it all typed up with these dates and times, but you're swapping for the blue instead of the library, the tennis center. Got it, okay, so I've got that currently written, a motion by Ms. Fanbro.
Do we have a second on that? Okay, I will go ahead and second that.
I'm not sure that I'm on board, that I was gonna second it to have the discussion, but.
Okay, why don't you, yeah, that's fine. Okay, now, open for discussion.
Did y'all say something about there was a problem with having the tennis center? No?
Not that I know of, I mean, they haven't been approached this year about advance voting, but they're always available to us when they ask.
Okay, so we're not really sure, you haven't discussed it. So you're not sure whether you can have it there or not,
Well, they'll make it available.
they'll make it available, okay?
And we'll tell them to be available.
Okay, so have we ever had to do anything across town for the Winterville location? Have we ever actually moved it across town rather than in their proximity?
I'm not sure what you're asking as well, I'm sorry.
I'm asking, have we ever had a Winterville election at the library? Cause that depends on how my thinking flows. And I
Yes,
wanna
it's in
test it.
June. In
Okay, in June. Okay, what
And if
was,
it's
what
early-
were the numbers?
You mean like how the percentage of
Percentage.
people that came to vote? I can go pull the reports if you want a more accurate number, but I believe that the June election was a 7% turnout. I don't know about doing advanced voting, I'd have to go pull the report, 7% total. And the runoff, I believe, was less than 5%
Yes.
total.
So are you wanting to know like how many people from Winterville came to vote at the library? Is that-
I don't know how we would,
Well, no, cause the percentage is good. You know,
Okay.
and I'm basing this on my own, I'm gonna go and vote, cause I gotta go to Atlanta and vote. But a lot of people, a lot of people may have a problem with going across town. And one time only does not, for me, say that that's the best place. Because if I lived in Winterville, and I may be saying something crazy here, but if I lived in Winterville, I would rather go to and I've lived in Winterville, and I voted, you know, Athens-Clarke County, but I would rather go to the tennis center than to come across downtown Athens or any way to get across town with all the students and what's going on. I would rather that be my place of voting. Now, I don't know how that would turn out for other people that live in Winterville, but for me, like I said, I'll vote anywhere if I have to go to Atlanta, but for some people, that might be kind of like a problem.
Did you say that you think that most people are familiar or accustomed to voting at the library? Do you have that feeling?
the libraries are our most popular location. I can't say for the voters of Winterville where our most popular location is, but the most frequented location besides the office is the library, and the second is the tennis center.
Okay, so how many times have we had to do a Winterville election at the library? Several times? 4 times?
I mean, since the beginning of
Are you
the
talking about
time,
when we
right?
did that's the one we did in June? And we had this.
I think she's talking about previous.
Oh, my previous
Yeah,
Winterville
previous,
election.
yeah.
I mean, it would just be whenever it was up for the cycle.
Mayor,
But the point that I make is that, if we only have one election to go by, why don't we try the tennis center? And then we'll have a measure of what's best in the future. If this happens again, and it's likely to happen again because of the situation with the situation that come up with them this time.
Noted. Anyone else have comments?
Would it confuse people? I mean, I'm just trying to look at all aspects here.
I we don't think it would confuse people. I would, a lot of circumspect over here. I would add, that's my suggestion, I would add it. I wouldn't take the library out because historically people look for the library. I feel like if we just had
Okay.
the elections office and the tennis center, we're gonna hear a lot of why this library.
I'm not, I can, thank you, because that's really, I'm not averse to that. So then we could see, you know,
Yes,
if we did both of them, we could see which one would be better.
yeah.
Would you like to amend?
I'd like to amend my, yes, or instead of, to do both.
So
We're gonna need that information in the future, I feel like.
more simply, we could say, as presented, in addition, adding the tennis center.
Because we want to do what's going to serve the public.
Right.
Ms. Bella, are you thinking this to mirror these same times?
I don't have a problem with that.
And I'll re-second that.
Question before you vote. So are you still wanting it to open the same week as the library, correct?
Can I make a suggestion? that do you want to do the entire week, or because of the low turnout for this type of special elections, would it be okay to do just 3 days? To accommodate the voters who want to go? Instead of six,
What 3 days would you recommend?
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Also, I don't see a Sunday on here. Was there a change? I remember there was a rule and there was a bill. Did that pass? We still have Sunday.
Registered required us to do the mandatory Saturdays, but Sundays up to the.
So the motion currently is elections office, library, tennis center, adding these times starting on Saturday.
Yeah,
Is that your intent?
yeah.
Okay.
And I'll speak to the half a week. We still probably wouldn't get a real good measurement unless we do at least 6 days. And I think that 3 days, it's always not confusing to me, but it's kind of like when we do things like on this day, blah, 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 on this day, something else. You know, people just don't respond to if things aren't consistent.
Right.
They just don't. And I think that if we shut it down, we're actually probably, I don't know what that's the word, but disenfranchising the voters from having that spread out like that over 6 days. Cause I don't think we should be in a place of pushing it down rather than pushing it out so people will have opportunities. And then when we do that, like I said, we're learning something in the process. We'll know what to do the next time.
Yes.
I'm curious about this logistically. I understand the library. I love that the proposal that was presented to us and what we're trying to go for. I love the consistency of hours. I know in previous years, we've tried to find the sweet spot of having an open late night and this thing, but I see 2 different times, 8 to 5, 9 to 4. I like that. I know that the library can accommodate that and the tennis center accommodate 8 to 5.
I'm not sure. I think the earliest we've ever opened out there is 9.
Which is not a deal breaker for me, but that does kind of get away from the.
But early voting, it has to open at 8.
No,
the
the
hour.
office has to be open. The main voting location has to be open at 5 during the business hours.
It's at least 9 to 5 elsewhere. Is that right?
Yes.
Weekdays, right? But we can expand beyond that, but, right? We can't do 10
I
to
thought the
2
law
on
was 8. No,
I'm sorry.
no.
The main location.
I thought it was no later than 8, but it's not. So
And just to be clear, I know we talked about precincts having to change and everything. Winterville Cultural Center Community Center will still be a polling day place on election day, a polling place for election day. That is still,
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
can still vote there, they can still vote absentee. So the motion is to add the tennis center exactly the way the library is doing. I begin to get worried about the low turnout and having more poll workers than voters, but, I guess that's a problem. That's a good problem. It's a good problem to have lots of access for voters. I'm concerned about when it's all said and done, looking back and saying, man, we overstaffed for this thing. But better that than understaffed and people complaining about not having gotten the vote. So I'm for it the way it is. That's my 2 cents. I'm sorry, I'm sharing the thoughts. We ran around a lot about this, about swapping out one for the other, adding one, but I just.
let's take a vote.
Unless Ms.
On what?
Ms. Bola made a motion or the motion as it stands at the moment is what's printed on the paper and exactly what you've written there, tennis center and those times added. So that's the motion on the floor.
Okay.
And a yes vote would mean you want it, as I just described. A no vote means you don't want it, and if it fails, then we'll start over and figure something else out.
I just had one thing is, what is the cost, the extra cost to have it?
If somebody wants to use their calculator, I mean, you're an average of, you just do an average of $16.50 per poll worker per hour, 6 people to staff for that number of hours
So then per day.
per day.
5:45, 3, 4, 7, 52 hours of work. 52 hours times 6 people, right? Times 1650. There's the math problem. 6 times 650, $5,000.
How much?
5,148.
Okay, will that put us out of budget, or are we already out of budget, or what?
That's a whole separate. If we didn't,
Because if we're gonna talk about money, let's talk about budget.
Okay, so when Pam and I worked on the projections that we were asked to do for the manager's office for how much the 2026 budget elections would cost, this was included in it, and we budgeted for 2 locations. Not to say we couldn't do it, it would probably just mean going and asking for additional funding at some point.
Barely trying to stop. We're doing this for the citizens, we're not. And really, like I said, for ourselves, because we need to know, because with one bill, we, next year, with what's going on, we may run into this again.
all right, let's take a vote.
Is there any, one last question, is there any chance of living around?
Let's take a vote.
I have a
I am
question.
the chair, I call the votes, that's the end of it. No, I'm serious, let's just vote, because I have a feeling I know how it's gonna turn out anyway, and then we can go back to the beginning, all right? So once again, a yes vote is downtown, library, tennis center, mirroring the hours of the library, all right? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, well, I guess I was wrong. All those opposed, say no. All right. I was wrong
Okay,
about
there
that.
was one.
Oh, I'm sorry,
When-
I didn't hear you say no. Great, thank you. Ms. Riley said no. Okay. It's like Congress when they think it's,
Yeah,
someone objects for a roll call vote. All right, well, that's that.
Is there any chance there's gonna be a runoff? Is it mathematical? At some point, we're past the point of a writing in and anything else.
Yeah.
This is just
Public
Two-
service commissioners, 2 people.
candidates for the,
And whatever.
there's
else-
3 races with 2 candidates each, right? Making
2
sure.
races, 2 state races, 1 winner.
Gotcha.
You're saying the libertarians, go jump in there.
All right. So how about announcements? Next meeting is on October 14th in this room at 2555 Lexington Road. And at 4:30, thank you. Now the chair entertains a motion to adjourn.
I so moved.
I'll second.
Do we have a second? Ms. Till? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Too bad. We're adjourned.
It's the little camera on. You gotta shut down on that.